Hello everybody, myself Mrs. P.S. Patil working as Head of Department in Electrical Engineering Department. I welcome you all on behalf of Raya Shikshan Sanstha's Karmavir Bahurao Patil Polytechnic Satara Department of Electrical Engineering. Today I am going to conduct one lecture and this lecture is based on the following topic. The program is Diploma in Electrical Engineering. The course is Industrial AC Machine. Course code is 22523 and this course is included in 5th semester of I-Scheme. Under this particular subject or we are going to see the chapter Single Phase Induction Motors. We will be considering the introduction to single phase induction motor. But before starting with the unit, I will make one announcement that this video is for education purpose only. No copyright infringement. The copyright belongs to the rightful owner. Credit goes to respective video music composer and the singers. So when we will complete this lecture, what unit outcomes you will be completing, we will discuss first. First, after completing this lecture, we will be able to explain with niche working the given single phase induction motor. Explain with sketch the working of given single phase induction motor. Then explain with sketch the construction of given type of single phase induction motor. Then suggest the relevant single phase induction motor for a specified different application. Then describe the procedure to maintain given type of single phase induction motor. So this is the outcome of the total unit. So we will start with the first point, that is types of single phase induction motors. So single phase induction motors are generally built in fractional horsepower range and they are classified into following four basic types. So what I would like to mention here that these motors, they are generally small rating motors and they are specified in terms of FHP, that is fractional horsepower, and they are classified into four main classes. First is single phase induction motor. These induction motors, they are again subclassified as first split phase type, second capacitor type, and third shaded pole type. Then second main type is repulsion motor, which is again classified as repulsion start induction run motor, and second repulsion induction motor. So these are the two subtypes of repulsion motors. Then third is synchronous motors. In that first is reluctance motor, second is hysteresis motor, and the last main type is AC series motor or a universal motor. That means we are having two main types, single phase induction motor, repulsion motor, synchronous motor and AC series motor. Again single phase motors are classified as split phase type, capacitor type and shaded pole type. Repulsion motors are classified as repulsion start induction run motor, repulsion induction motor. Then synchronous motors are classified as reluctance motor, hysteresis motor and last is AC series motor. So to start with the first point, we will discuss what is the general construction of single phase induction motors. Means we will see what are the different parts of the motor and how they are placed inside the machine. A single phase induction motor is very similar to three phase squirrel cage induction motor. So just like a three phase squirrel cage induction motor, single phase induction motor is having some constructional similarity. First thing is that it has a squirrel cage rotor identical to three phase motor. So the rotor construction is same for a three phase motor and a single phase motor. But the second point is that this machine is having a single phase winding on the stator. Three phase motor will be having a three phase winding on the stator, single phase machine will be having a single phase winding on the stator. The main difference between the two is that unlike a three-phase induction motor, a single-phase induction motor is not self-starting, but it requires some starting means. So that is the main difference between the three-phase induction motor and the single-phase induction motor. That single-phase induction motor is not self-starting and we have to make provision of some starting means. The single phase stator winding produces a magnetic field that pulsates in strength in a sinusoidal manner. The field polarity reverses after each half cycle, but the field does not rotate. So this is the important point to be noted, that in case of single phase induction motor, the magnetic field produced by the stator, it is having a alternating nature, but it is not a rotating field. It is not a rotating field. So we will see what is the construction of single phase induction motor. So this is the pictorial view of a single phase induction motor. The main parts which we can have look from the outer side is, first one you will see here, it is a shaft, then this is the terminal box, this is the main yoke or cylindrical frame which is covering to the inner parts, then this is the end cover, these are the base plates, and this one is the capacitor which is particularly used for capacitor start motors. For some other motors it may not be present. Here will be the terminal box. Now we will see the cross sectional diagram. So innermost part which you see here, this is the rotor, and this rotor is a laminated rotor. It is a laminated rotor. So we will see small lines here. So what they are indicating, that this core is made up of number of stamping pressed one behind the other, and they form the continuous path for the flux. Here it will be having a rotor winding. As it is a squirrel cage rotor, it will be having thick slots, and inside the slot thick conductors will be placed. Around the rotor there will be the stator. So this is the stator core, and here we will be having the end terminals of stator winding. End terminals of stator winding. Then here you will see this is the bearings. These are the bearings. Then these are the end seals or end covers. Inside that you will see here one cooling fan. You will see one cooling fan. Then this will be the base plate which we use for fixing the motor on the foundation. So these are the main parts: stator with stator winding, rotor with rotor winding, then shaft which gives a rotational motion, then this will be the bearings, cooling fan, end covers, covering frame, base plate, etc. You will see here a dismantled view of the motor. You will see the dismantled view or dismantled parts of a single phase induction motor. So this one which you will see here, which shows a clear view of the rotor with a cylindrical drum having slots on its outer periphery, and inside these slots thick conductors will be placed. As it is a squirrel cage rotor, all the conductors, they will be connected or they will be short circuited using the end ring, and this rotor will be mounted on this shaft. This rotor will be mounted on this shaft. Outside the rotor you will be having a stator. So stator will be again having two parts: stator core and stator winding. Winding which is placed on the stator, it is to be connected to the supply. So electrical connections will be brought out and then they will be carried towards the terminal box. They will be carried towards the terminal box. Around the stator there will be the housing or the yoke or the frame, and this frame will be placed on the it will be placed on the foundation using the mounting base. So rotor will be inside the stator, and on the two sides shaft will be closed using the end mills. The same diagram is shown here, the cut section diagram. Cut section of single phase induction motor. So again as we have studied already, this will be the outermost shaft. Then this is the lead connections. On the end you will see here ball bearings from the two sides of the shaft. It will be having ball bearing. Then this will be the rotor. Around the rotor there will be stator. So around the stator there will be the motor case. There will be the motor case. You can say it as a covering, or you can say it as a frame, or as a yoke, which gives mechanical support to the all inner parts. Stator carries the current and it produces the flux. Rotor is developing a torque. So these are the different parts of the single phase motors. Almost all the motors, they are having the same parts, that is the stator, rotor, shaft, ball bearings, cooling fans, yoke, terminal box, connecting leads, etc. Only thing is that based on the type of the motor, there will be some modification in the winding or in some other parts of the machine. So by considering the construction of induction motors, now we will discuss what is the working principle of single phase induction motor. Single phase induction motor. So the working principle of single phase motor is simple. It is just like a thief and police game. It is just like a thief and police game where police tries to catch the thief. Like that, it has also two fluxes, such as main flux, which is just similar to a thief, which is generated by the stator coil, and another one is the rotor flux, which is working like a police, and it will try to catch the thief. Means rotor flux tries to catch the main flux. Rotor flux tries to catch the main flux. Rotor flux is produced by rotor bars. Rotor flux is produced by rotor bars. Here, rotor flux tries to catch the stator, and due to this interaction, the torque is being developed. Initially, a single phase AC supply is directly given to the stator winding. So, how the motor works? When we connect a single phase AC supply to the stator winding will produce an alternating flux, that is the main flux. This main flux, which is produced by the stator winding, it will link with the rotor conductor through the air gap. It will link with the rotor conductor through the air gap. So as this stator flux cut the rotor conductor, rotor creates an induced EMF according to transformer principle. And what is the transformer principle? That is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. That is, whenever conductor cut the flux or whenever conductor is cut by the flux, it induces the EMF. So here the flux produced by the stator cuts the rotor conductor. So rotor conductors induce the EMF. So this working is similar to transformer. Only whatever role of a primary winding of transformer is there, same is the role of the stator of the motor, and the role of the secondary, here it is performed by the rotor of the motor. What is the difference then? The difference is that here the rotor is short circuited, and due to this construction, that is short circuiting of the rotor conductors, the induced EMF in the rotor conductors causes a circulating current in the rotor conductors. Circulating current in the rotor conductors. And therefore, as per the transformer principle, the rotor current produces another flux which is called as rotor flux. Means when EMF is induced in the rotor conductor, it will carry the current, and due to this current it will produce its own flux, and this flux which is produced by the rotor, it start to catch the main flux. Means now it plays the role of the police, and it will try to catch the main flux, that is the thief. But the rotor flux and the stator flux, here the rotor flux and the stator flux, they are always in phase with each other, and therefore they are not able to produce a net torque. And that's why we say that since the stator flux and rotor flux they are in phase with each other, the net torque produced by the motor is 0. So initial torque produced by the motor is 0, but what I will say that, however, if the motor start to run, it continuously produces a steady torque. What it means? If initially, though the torque is absent, by some means, if we start the motor, then it continuously produces a steady torque. So this behavior of the motor is explained by two different theories. One is the double field revolving theory and other is the cross field revolving theory. These are the two basic theories used to explain why single phase induction motors are not self-starting. So we will discuss these theories. So as we have seen, we will be considering here why single phase induction motors are not self-starting. Why single phase induction motors are not self-starting, and for that we will be considering double field revolving theory. So we have stated that the flux which is produced by the single phase stator winding, it is not an rotating flux but it is an alternating flux which is having one positive half cycle and one negative half cycle. Again, one positive half cycle and one negative half cycle. So these cycles will be repeated continuously. So this flux which is produced will be distributed in two different fluxes, phi F and phi B. So we will take a full cycle of single phase which was having one positive half cycle and one negative cycle, and they are equal in magnitude but different in direction. The two half cycles, they are having equal magnitudes, positive max and negative max. They are equal but they are having different directions. One cycle is a positive and another is a negative. So we will consider it as a combination of one forward flux and another reverse flux. So assume that the total flux is produced in the stator coil is phi. During the positive half cycle, the flux is phi F by 2, and during the negative half cycle, the flux will be phi B by 2. Phi F by 2 and phi B by 2. So these two fluxes, we consider that they are opposite in direction. That is, one revolving in clockwise direction, another revolving in anti-clockwise direction. The total flux produced by the stator coil is phi. During the positive half cycle, we will consider that flux is phi F by 2, and during the negative half cycle, the flux will be minus phi by 2. So at any instant, the sum of these two fluxes is always equal to stator flux, that is phi equal to phi F by 2 plus phi B by 2. So we consider that the total flux is a combination of two different fluxes, one revolving in forward direction, another revolving in backward direction, and at any instant sum of these two fluxes will be equal to the stator flux, that is phi equal to phi F by 2 plus phi B by 2. Now let us consider the alternating current, voltage and flux. All are having similar nature of variation. So we will consider the 4 points, particularly 0 degree point, then 90 degree point, 180 degree point and minus 90 degree point. On the waveform, we will consider these 4 points and we will discuss what is the value of forward and backward flux for these particular points. So if we see the 2 points corresponding to phase angle 0 degree and 180 degree, at this point the magnitude of the alternating quantity is 0. So we consider this as a 0 point. So we say we will discuss the value of the flux at 0 point. So what is 0 point? It is a point corresponding to the phase angle 0 degree and 180 degree. So at this particular point, there is no forward flux or no backward magnetic flux. Hence, the magnitude of the stator flux is 0. Hence, there is no torque. Means on the AC cycle, if we consider the 2 point, 0 degree point and 180 degree point, 0 degree point and 180 degree point, there is no forward or backward magnetic flux. Hence, the magnitude of the stator flux is 0. Hence, there is no torque. Now, we will see another 2 points, that is plus 90 degree point and minus 90 degree point. So, these are the points I have stated as a maximum point. So, what it means? A maximum point means at this particular point, the value of the flux will be either positive max or negative max. So, at plus 90 degree, the forward flux reaches a maximum value and the rotor links to this stator flux, which is a forward flux. So, the rotor induces EMF in the forward direction and the motor starts rotating in forward direction. At minus 90 degree, the reverse flux reaches the maximum value and the rotor links this flux and induces EMF in the reverse direction. So, at plus 90 degree, there is a forward flux, at minus 90 degree, there is a reverse flux, and hence in both the cases torque is developed. For the first case, that is at plus 90 degree, it is a torque produced in the forward direction, and at minus 90 degree, there is a torque producing in the reverse direction. Here, note that the direction of rotation of the flux is always in phase with the stator flux. So, there is no phase angle difference between the stator flux and the rotor flux, and therefore, from figure referring to the points 1 and 2, we get that equal and opposite rotation for a single cycle in the motor due to alternating nature. Means one produces a forward direction rotation, another produces a reverse direction rotation, and therefore in all we can say that if this is the forward flux and this is the reverse flux, then overall torque produced by the motor will be 0. So, we see that if now we have given a small rotation to the motor, then what will happen? Previously we have seen the points 0 degree, then 180 degree, plus 90 degree and minus 90 degree, and we come to the conclusion that in that case no torque is produced. But if we have given a small rotation to the motor shaft, then what happens? Then in that case the rotor cuts the stator flux dynamically. Dynamically means due to the external push given to the rotor, it will cut the stator flux, and as it cuts the stator flux, the rotor will induce the EMF and circulate the current in the conductors. Due to the high rotor reactance, the winding which is provided on the rotor, it is an inductive winding. So, it is designed to have high value of inductance and low value of resistance. That means it is a reactive component, and therefore the rotor current lags the voltage by 90 degree. So, in this case the current which is circulated inside the rotor, this current will be lagging behind the voltage by 90 degree. And now we will see that the rotor current produces over magnetic flux phi r, and this phi r lags the phi s by 90 degree. So, previously our problem was that there was no phase angle difference between the stator and the rotor flux. So, motor was not producing any torque. But if we are given some push, in that case, now the flux which is produced in the rotor, it will lag the stator flux by 90 degree phase angle, and in that case naturally it will be having a combination of two fluxes, and when we are having two different fluxes acting in the same gap with some phase angle difference, it will produce a rotating magnetic field, and once the stator produce a rotating magnetic field, this field will be produce a torque which will make the motor self-rotating. So, same thing I have explained here in this diagram. We have shown two fluxes, phi 1, or we can say it as a forward flux which value is phi m by 2, then phi 2, that is reverse flux whose value is again phi m by 2. At the instant t, phase angle is omega t. So we have stated that total flux is phi 1 plus phi 2. So if we consider these two rotating fluxes phi 1 and phi 2, each having magnitude phi m by 2, and they are rotating in opposite direction with angular velocity omega. So at any instant t, the phase angle of the two fluxes will be same, but one will be rotating in clockwise direction, another will be rotating in anticlockwise direction. So we will see that one flux is in first quadrant, one flux is in fourth quadrant. So what will it affect? The first thing it will we see that the y component of the two fluxes, in that case they will be opposite to each other. If we split this flux, suppose phi 1 into two components, one along x-axis and one along y-axis, we see that these two components are positive. But if we see flux phi 2 and if we split this flux again along x-axis and y-axis, x component will be positive but the y component will be negative. Y component will be negative. So the total x component of the flux will be x component of phi 1 plus x component of phi 2. So if I want to find out the total flux, which is phasor summation of phi 1 by phi 2, I can complete the process of addition by splitting up the two fluxes along x-axis and y-axis, and we'll add two x components together and two y components together. So the total x component, you will see here that for first flux it is positive, for second flux also it is positive. So total x component will be phi m by 2 cos omega t plus phi m by 2 cos omega t, that is total x component will be phi m cos omega t. Similarly, total y component, if you see, it is again phi m by 2 sin omega t for first flux, and for the second one it will be minus phi m by 2 sin omega t. As they are equal and opposite, the resultant y component value will be 0. So these are the additions of the two x component and the two y components. Now as far as the resultant flux phi is considered, which is the phasor addition of the two fluxes, this phi will be calculated as under root of x component square plus y component square, that is under root of phi m cos of omega t bracket square plus 0 square, that is phi m cos of omega t. So what we can conclude in a reverse way, that the flux phi m cos of omega t, which is an alternating flux, it is a combination of two fluxes each having magnitude phi m by 2, but one revolving in clockwise direction and one revolving in anticlockwise direction. Thus, the resultant vector sum is phi equal to phi m cos omega t, and it is acting along x-axis. Therefore, an alternating field can be replaced by two rotating fields of half amplitude but rotating in opposite direction at the synchronous speed. That means the resultant flux, which is an alternating flux given by phi equal to phi m cos omega t, it is an addition of two different fluxes rotating in opposite direction but having equal amplitude. Note that the resultant vector, what is important point to be noted, that the resultant vector, its direction is not changing. It is a stationary vector which oscillates in length with time along x-axis. How it oscillates? As per the equation, phi is equal to phi m cos of omega t, but it always acting along x-axis. That means it is not a rotating flux but it is an alternating flux, and when this resultant flux is observed equal to phi as phi equal to phi m, it will not be producing any starting torque. Again, if we consider the value of phi for the particular phase angle 180 degree, then also the resultant vector phi will be 0. So both the cases, either omega t equal to 0 or omega t equal to 180 degree, the resultant torque is equal to 0 and the motor remains standstill in the previous position. Same can be explained with the help of these characteristics. The first one shows the forward torque, which is rotating in clockwise direction. Second shows the torque produced by the reverse torque. And the resultant torque produced by both the fluxes, it will be having shape like this. And the point to be noted is that at a particular point when omega t equal to 0, at that time torque will be also 0 and speed will be also 0. And that's why we say that the single phase motor is not self-starting. Now we get a new question, that is how single phase motor start rotating while giving a manual rotation at start. Means this motor, if we connect it to supply, it will not be self-starting. But if we give some manual rotation, then how it remains in the rotation. This particular behavior of the induction motor can be explained using cross-field revolving theory. So we will see what is a cross-field revolving theory. Again, let us consider one cycle of single phase flux. At starting, the flux produced in both the coil is 0, hence the net torque developed by single phase motor is 0. If we consider point 2 and 3, that is 90 degree and minus 90 degree, we will see that the resultant flux at 90 degree is phi s equal to phi by 2. We can put in the equation phi is equal to phi m cos of omega t and we can get the values. So for 90 degree, it is given by the flux phi s equal to phi by 2. So thus, if we have given a small rotation to the motor shaft and it reaches to the instant 90 degree position, then in that case the motor cut the stator flux dynamically and the rotor induces EMF and circulate the current in the conductor. So this is the position of the induction motor if we are given some push to the motor. So if we give push to the motor and it reaches to the position of 90 degree, it will induce EMF, it will circulate the current, and then when it circulates the current, due to high reactance, rotor current will lag the rotor voltage. Thus the rotor current will produce its flux and then the rotor flux will be lagging the stator flux by 90 degree. Thus these two fluxes will produce a rotating magnetic flux and the motor will start to rotate. So this way we have seen what is the construction of single phase induction motor, what is the principle of motor, and then how to make the motor self-starting. So this was regarding the introduction of single phase induction motor. So here I am going to conclude my presentation, but before that I request you all to visit our Rayat Shikshan Sanstha's YouTube channel Rayat Knowledge Bank. Please subscribe our channel Rayat Knowledge Bank and please do not forget to press the bell button. Thank you.